we're going to explain how to configure an Angular proxy for local development using proxy.config.json. This is crucial when your Angular application needs to communicate with a backend server running on a different port or a different domain during development. First, you need to create a file named proxy.config.json in the root directory of your Angular project. This file will contain the configuration for your proxy. 2. Inside proxy.config.json. Comma, you'll define a target URL, which is where your backend server is running. Let's say your backend is running on http://localhost 3000. You would specify that within the JSON file. 3. Next, you map the request from your Angular application. This is done by defining a path in your Angular app that will be proxied to your backend. For example, if you want all requests to /API in your Angular app to be forwarded to your backend server, you'd configure it as such within your JSON file. 4. The configuration within the proxy.config.json. File uses a key value pair structure. The key specifies the path that will trigger the proxy, and the value is the target URL. 5. Now you need to tell Angular to use this proxy configuration. Open your angular.json file, usually found in the root directory of your project. 6. Locate the serve target within the projects.your-project-name section of your angular.json file. Inside that section, you will find a section called Options. Within the Options section, you'll add a new property called proxy config. 7. Set the value of proxy config to the path of your proxy.config.json file, usually just proxy config, proxy.config.json. 8. Save both proxy.config.json and angular.json. Now, when you run ong-serve, Angular will use the proxy configuration defined in proxy.config.json. Any requests matching the paths you defined will be forwarded to your backend server. Remember to adjust the port numbers and paths according to your specific setup. For example, if your backend is running on a different port than 3000, you will need to adjust the target URL in your proxy.config.json file accordingly. Also, if your backend is accessible via a different URL, be sure to update your configuration appropriately. After making these changes, restart your Angular development server using Anguserve to apply the new proxy settings. Now your Angular app can seamlessly communicate with your backend, even if they are running on different ports or domains, simplifying your local development workflow considerably.